everybody, and welcome back to my booktube channel. Today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag, which I'm so excited to do. I don't know why, but I just love seeing people's mid-year stats and their thoughts on the books that they've read so far that certain year. I just think it's really interesting, so I'm very excited to be doing my own. So yes, we're gonna get into the tag, and then afterwards I'm going to share with you some of my shoddily done statistics. Yes, let's get into it. So the first question of this tag is, what is the best book that you've read this year? That is going to be Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. I've been really killing it with reading the Cassandra Clare recently. I'm a big fan and I love The Infernal Devices. It's my new self-proclaimed favorite series, and this is my favorite book from said series. I just really love the way all the relationships are developing in this book. So many things happen, so many fun times. The first book, you're kind of just like getting to know everybody, it's new, it's fresh, and the last book is just sad. So this book is a happy medium. So the next question is the best sequel that you've read this year, and I actually chose Heartstopper Volume 2 by Alice Oseman. I love this graphic novel series so much. I think it's so well done. I love the art style. I just think it's really cool. Love just like the color scheme. Perfect. The storyline is cute. This book is really about, what's his name? Nick discovering his sexuality and coming to terms with the fact that he likes Charlie and they're not like an item. So yes, very cute, very fun, just a lovely read, to be honest. Next up, we have a new release that you haven't read yet, and this is like kind of a new release, but it did come out like 3 months ago, but it's okay. But I really want to read Down Comes the Night by Allison Saft. I honestly don't know that much about it, but I know it's like a YA graphic YA gothic type thing, and honestly that's all I know about it. But I still really want to read it because I love gothic books, but they're all classics and I just don't want to dedicate the brain power to that, so I need like a nice YA version of it. I'm sure there's other gothic YA novels, but this is just one that I know about, and it came out in March. Yes, I really hope it comes out in paperback soon because they only have a hardback available and I don't want to spend the money for that. Maybe I should probably get it on my Kindle. That would be a good idea. Maybe I'll read it soon now that I've come to this brilliant original idea. Next up, we have the most anticipated release, and I'm not really like hyped for any books coming out in a few days. The third book in like the Simon Snow series by Rainbow Rowell is coming out. I'm pretty excited to read that, but also a new book by TJ Klune is coming out. He wrote The House on the Cerulean Sea. I read that earlier this year, gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It was so cute. He's coming out with another book called Under the Whispering Door the 21st of September, I think, which is super close to my birthday, so happy birthday to me when I picked that book up. But yeah, I also don't know much about that one, but it looks kind of spooky maybe. I could be very off, but I just love The House on the Cerulean Sea, so I'm very excited to read something else by TJ Klune. Ooh. Next up, we have my biggest disappointment of the year. I think we all saw it coming. It's The Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Now, look, I've talked about this book, I feel like a decent amount on my channel, but like it wasn't awful. It was just like kind of really boring for the first like 600 pages, and then things like started happening. And like that was fine. The things we were learning were interesting. I was like, oh my god, who would have thought? Like I was, you know, very surprised at the things that were going on. But I was a little over it because for like 600 pages, it was just a lot of talking, a lot of info dumping, and I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars, which I think is one of the lowest ratings I've given a book all year, so I won't talk about it. I probably will still pick up the next book though. Next up, we have the biggest surprise of the year, and I actually have 2. First, I'm going to talk about Small Spaces by Catherine Arden. I really liked this book. I read this for a little spooky book thing video that I did. I ended up really enjoying this. It was just a really nice read. You know, it was kind of spooky, it was kind of creepy, but it's like a middle grade, so I wasn't like scared, but it gave me like the right kind of feelings. You know, I felt like it was autumn, it was leading up to Halloween. It wasn't, it was the middle of May and it was hotter than hell, but like it was nice to think about the fact that it was October. There's one. The next one is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Now, look, I'm not gonna say there's not some problematic things in this book, mainly being Carden. Look, he's complicated because he doesn't really have much character development. It's kind of just like, he was mean, and then he wasn't. There was no bridging the gap there. But I still really enjoyed this book and this series as a whole. It was just so good, so entertaining, many twists and turns. I was a big fan. Also, another big surprise when I undid the dust jacket. Oh, I will not stop talking about it. It's so pretty. Not the point though. I just want to, yeah, I don't know. Okay, moving on. What's next? My new favorite author. This isn't a new author to anyone else, but it is a new author to me, and that is Cassie Clare. I have been, if you've been watching any of my recent videos, binging all of her series. I've read The Mortal Instruments, The Infernal Devices. I read the 2 books that are out in the Last Hour series, and I've read 2 books of The Dark Artifices. And then I read Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy a couple days ago, and I really enjoyed that as well. Her books are just like doing something for me, and I'm really appreciating it. Like, The Mortal Instruments was okay. Easily my least favorite series, but The Infernal Devices and The Last Hours, I'm not gonna talk about it a lot because I've already talked about it a lot on my channel, but I love them with my whole heart and soul. The characters. How many times am I gonna do this? I don't know, but I just love these series so much. That's all I have to say on that. The next question is new fictional crush, and I don't know. So we're gonna change this question to characters that I would sell my soul for. And there's only 2. It's just William Herondale and James Carstairs. Yes, no further explanation needed. New favorite characters. I actually have 3, so I'm not gonna talk about her a lot, but Cordelia Carstairs and James Herondale from The Last Hours. I will not go into it. You're probably sick of me by now. But also Lula Blanc from Serpent and Dove. I just love witches, and she's a witch and she's a badass, so like perfect combo. Gotta love it. And then we have Kaladin Stormblessed from the Stormlight Archive. I don't know, he's an inspirational guy. He's got such a strong will. He never gave up. He's been through a lot, but he still keeps going, and I love him for that. A book that made you cry. Now, it's really, I don't think I've ever like actually cried at a book, but books that made me tear up a lot are going to be around page like 80 of Chain of Iron, when someone plays something, and the ending of Clockwork Princess. I probably would have cried at the end of this book had I not known what was gonna happen, but I did, so that's unfortunate. A book that made you happy, I'm gonna go with The Roverandom by J.R.R. Tolkien. It was just the cutest thing I've ever read. It was so precious. Oh my god. It's about this little dog that gets turned into a toy dog because he bit a wizard on the ass, and then he like goes to the moon, he goes to the sea, he's just going on all these adventures, and it was so cute, and it's a really short read, so I implore you to read it because it's just, even thinking about it now, I'm like, oh my god, that's so cute. Book to movie adaptation. Now, I've only seen 2 so far this year, and the one I'm gonna go with, I haven't actually read the book, but I do own the book, if that counts for anything, and that's Wuthering Heights by Charlotte Bronte. Emily Bronte, I'm so sorry. To the Bronte sisters. I think it was an Alfred, no, did he do Rebecca? Someone did a Wuthering Heights adaptation, and I really enjoyed it. It was old, black and white, it had, what was his name? Some relevant actor in it who played Heathcliff. I liked it. I thought it was good. The only other adaptation that I've watched is 2.5 seasons of the Shadowhunters show that was on Freeform, ABC, whatever it was. And that show is something else. I didn't finish it. I did watch 2.5 seasons though, but like towards the last season, I was like, what's going on? I don't remember any of this. But I do really like Alec and Magnus in that show, like the only redeeming quality, honestly. Next up, we have the favorite video that I've made this year, and that is probably, I'm sorry, but it's gonna be my Chain of Iron reading vlog, or maybe my Chain of Gold vlog. One of them, I don't know. It was just really fun to dedicate an entire vlog to one book so I could talk about it more in depth. Like, neither of them have spoilers, but like a little more in depth than I would. It's just like, I finished this book yesterday and I'm gonna start this book. But like with these, I just, it was completely dedicated to it. I don't know. It was just a good time. Next up, we have the most beautiful books that I own. And I have 3 that I'm gonna briefly show you. I have not read any of these. Oopsies. But we have the Barnes & Noble, The Wind in the Willows. I do plan to read this soon. But can we talk about the cover? And the spine? And the back? Look at the end pages. There's little lily pads. Oh, this one's kind of fun. I don't know. I'm gonna read this soon though. Then we have The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. This cover is gorgeous, honestly, and I love the spine too. Very cute. I cannot wait to read this as well. And then this one isn't like beautiful, but it is one of my favorite books that I own, like for aesthetic purposes. Well, not specifically for aesthetic purposes. I am gonna read this, but I bought it because I love the cover so much. And that is Masterpieces of Terror and the Supernatural. And I just love the art style of this dust jacket. It's just everything. It's so cool. And lastly, we have books that I need to read by the end of the year. I only have 3 because I don't like doing TBRs really, but these are books that I feel like I can get to them in the next 6 months, probably. That is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. Been wanting to read that for a while, just haven't. Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson, which is the 2nd book in the Starlight Archive. Need to read it. And then we have The Last Olympian by, why did I almost say by Percy Jackson? By Rick Riordan. I read the first 4 Percy Jackson series like really close together, and then I just like stopped. And now it's like 4 months later and I still haven't read the last book, but I will get to this soon. I have to. Like, there's no other option. So that is it for the tag portion of this. Now I'm just going to briefly tell you some reading stats just because I think that'd be a fun time. For the amount of books read, I've read 71 books this year. I don't know how, literally don't ask me how, I have no clue. But my original goal was 50, so I've already met my Goodreads goal. Pat on the back to me. I've read 27,910 pages, which again is insane to think about. Like, this book is, I don't know, 1,000 pages. Imagine reading 29 of these. 27 of these? 27 of these. And the average rating I give out is a 4 out of 5 stars, which I think is really good. So then I also broke down my books that I've read by genre. So I have some percentages to throw at you. Maybe I'll make up a little chart. Should I make up a chart? I think I'm gonna make up a chart. So 57% of the books that I've read have been fantasy, and of that 57%, 53% has been young adult fantasy, which expect that to go up throughout the year because I love YA fantasy. 8% of the books that I've read have been middle grade. I really enjoy middle grade. Expect that to go up as well because I really want to read a lot more of it. Horror has been 4%. There's only 3 books. Contemporary is 11%, which is higher than I thought it would be, but I'm probably gonna stop reading contemporary because it's kind of boring to me, and I've figured that out recently. Mystery is 2%, and my Greek lit / singular classic that I've read, I've put into the same thing, has been 14%. It would not be so high had I not taken a course that required me to read these books. I feel like I have a good grasp on my reading tastes now. In the beginning of the year, I was trying a lot of stuff out. It was like my first foray? My first dive into fantasy, really, because last year I read a lot of horror. Basically just a lot of Stephen King. I read some YA fantasy last year too, but like, this is like the first like proper, like, I'm gonna spend all my time reading this, and that's what I did. So fantasy is definitely my favorite genre, obviously. Like, I can't get into contemporaries the same way I can get into fantasy. You know, I wish I could, because sitting down with like a chill contemporary sounds so much better than attempting to throw myself into this book. But in the end, I have more fun reading this book, so, you know, we do what we can. I also hope to read more classics throughout the rest of this year because I've only read 1. And I want to at least have read 2. I'm still halfway through Persuasion by Jane Austen. Still probably not gonna finish it, if we're being honest. That's the video. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know down below. What is your favorite genre to read? Yes, that would be fun. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you in my next video.